everyone, welcome back. My name is Alison. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Melbourne, Australia. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. And for those that have watched me before, welcome back. So today I've got a really quick and simple card. Please stay and watch till the end because I will show another variation I made just to give you guys some more ideas. So this is a card that we've been making today, and I'm going to vary it up a little bit, but this is for the Just Add Ink challenge. I'll have the link to their blog down below if you want to participate, but you can sort of see the layout, and I'll insert a picture of the layout that we're using for this challenge now. So I will link the Just Add Ink challenge blog post to the description box below as well. So I'm just bringing in a basic white thick card piece, cardstock, which I cut in half and then scored in half, so it's a top folding card. And I'm also bringing in another piece of basic white, which I've embossed with the bark embossing folder. Don't worry too much about measurements and supplies. I will have that listed in my blog post, which I'll put down in the description box as well. So next I'm just bringing in the Artistically Inked Designer Series paper. So I'm just bringing in a square die. It's not a Stampin' Up one, but whatever square die you have at home will do. And I just wanted to play around with positioning just to make sure that when I do put that through the die cut machine, I've got the best image possible using that Designer Series paper, and the flowers are positioned nicely. So I'm bringing in a piece of gold foil as well. Now I don't measure. If I can get out of measuring, I will. So all I did was just make the matting gold foil piece just like about 0.5 of a centimetre, I think, border. So that's probably about 1/4 of an inch. And again, I've just used the seal to adhere that because it is gold foil. I thought I'll sort of stay away from my favourite multi-purpose Tombow. So I've just glued that on, and I've just used my small guillotine just to cut that piece to size. So I'm just bringing in some pale papaya ribbon. So it's really gorgeous, and I thought it goes well. I've only got the two of the new ink colours, the pale papaya one and the purple, which I can't, fresh freesia one, but I might get the other colours as well. So this sentiment here is the happy birthday, which I've gold embossed on some black cardstock. So I've had this spare. It was in my little sentiment baggie, and I thought it just fit perfectly with this one. So just makes having a little stash of sentiments just quick and handy. Just makes it a lot easier for me to make my cards. So I'm also got the piece of gold thread. So this was actually from the Forever Greenery Designer Series paper, but I believe that the Elegant suite also has some gold thread, so you can use that. So what I'm just doing here is I'm just tying the ends because it does fray a fair bit very easily. So I'm just using little knots here just to sort of stop the fraying process, so that when it doesn't come apart. So just now gluing that onto our embossed piece. So I'm actually going to bring in the Seal Plus. Okay, so I'm just using that Seal Plus just on the edge of that card base, just so we can adhere the ribbon to. So originally I wanted to glue both at the same time, but you will see me change that up and just do the pale papaya ribbon first, just to make it a lot easier. So I'm just folding that over where I already placed that Seal Plus. And so Seal Plus is just a little bit stronger for these types of projects, so it's a stronger hold than the normal seal. But realistically, I really love my Tombow. I prefer to use that, but I thought I will bring out these two tape runners for this project. But you can see I'm actually not that great using them. It does take a bit of practice, but I do like it when it's needed for. So now I'm just putting on the gold thread piece. So I'm just making sure that's sort of lined up in the middle. And again, I'm going to use some Seal Plus just to stick them on. But you will see me sort of, it doesn't actually quite hold as well for one of the piece on the left hand side piece. So I do bring in some tear and tape, but I will use the Seal Plus just to glue this piece on because it is quite embossed. So it does have a lot of, I guess, nooks and crannies. So you do want to make sure you've got enough adhesive on that. Okay, so I just brought in a piece of the tear and tape, which is a little stronger hold adhesive as well. For some reason, that little piece of the edge didn't want to stick on there. And like I said, I am not that great with the Seal Plus, so I did get a little bit over the edge. So you sort of see me tuck that back in because we don't want that sort of sticking out later and being a bit of a nuisance. So I'm actually going to remove that piece of plastic. It is like a double-sided tape, so I'm just removing that piece of plastic just to give us the extra adhesiveness that we need, and just lining it up with the front of my card base, and I'm just gluing that front piece on. So I will show you a variation later, but I did use the card layer for this piece just so I could hide the edges of the ribbon. But if you don't have ribbon, watch till the end and I'll show you a card with the same layout, but I substitute the ribbon with some designer series paper. So bringing in my dimensionals now, I'm just going to stick that to the front of our card using my take a pick tool just to remove the backings of the dimensionals. Because it is quite embossed, I thought it would be a lot easier using dimensionals just to help stick that on. And that's the front bit done. Now I am looking for a piece of my gold bow. Okay, so I'm just bringing in that back small piece of the same gold thread, and I thought I would just tie a bow. Not too bad. I managed to actually do it in the one take this time in front of the camera. So I'll be using some mini glue dot just to adhere that to the side. I just thought it needed a bow. So just using my take a pick tool just to roll that up into a little smaller piece circle to use, and I'm just putting that at the back, and it helped me also control the little ends and how I want them to sort of stand too. But easy peasy, and that's the front of the card done. So I'm actually going to now do the card insert since it's a relatively short video. So I'm just bringing in a scrap piece that I had of the same pattern designer series paper, and I'm just bringing in my little mini Stampin' Up guillotine. Apologies, Stampin' Up doesn't sell this mini guillotine anymore, but I'm sure you can pick one up somewhere else. But it's probably one of my most favourite tools. But if they ever restock, I will let you guys know. But seriously, it's one of the most handiest tool, and I do use it a lot in my crafting. So again, just sticking that designer series paper to the side, and I'm just going to bring in my snips just to cut off the little ends of that, and I did use the seal to glue that on. So let me know in the comments below which is your favourite adhesive. Like I said, I am getting used to the seal, but I much prefer my Tombow glue. So I'm just gluing that on. And you'll see me sort of stand the card up just to position it, because it's a top folding card. That's how I prefer to make my cards when I need to take photos of them, because it does make it a lot easier. So I just wanted to sort of see which edge do I want that designer series paper sticking out, depending on which angle I decide to photograph it. So just bringing in an envelope here and a scrap piece of paper. I'm bringing in my polished pink and the artistically inked bundle. So I am going to stamp that first generation off because it is quite bright and I just wanted a lighter colour. And then I'm using my sponge dauber just to sort of sponge in the centre, so we have some variation in the colour there. So it looks a bit more like that image from the designer series paper. Okay, so I'm just bringing in the papaya, and I'm going to bring in the smaller flower stamp. I probably should have gone this slightly larger image, but I also knew I had limited space on the envelope. So just sponging the dobra around the edge of that one, and again sort of stamping off, and it was quite dark, so I didn't really restamp that again. And I'm bringing in the Just Jade now, and it is quite dark, so I'm actually going to stamp the entire using the second generation, but I wasn't quite happy with the placement of my first leaf, but I really couldn't stamp too much more because I had to leave room for the address and the postal stamp. Okay, so that's the envelope done. So I'm going to bring in my other variation. Oh no, I'm not. I'm bringing in the crumb cake to stamp the center of the flower. That's right. You can gold emboss it because it was gold falling on the designer series paper, but I think crumb cake, just sort of stamping a bit in the center, is enough just to sort of fill that little center bit there. So that's pretty much the card and envelope done. So I'm going to bring back the original card. I'm not sure if you can sort of see with the original card, I actually used the subtle embossing folder, which is no longer sold by Stampin' Up, but it does give a bit of a more subtle look. And then I also made a more basic one. So if you don't have ribbon, you can use a piece of the designer series paper, which I did for this peach card that I'm bringing in now. So I didn't add any embossing layers to this one. I've just stuck that square piece of designer series paper. I matted it on some Calypso coral and just adhered that straight onto my card base, keeping it very simple with no embossing or dimensions. So let me know in the comments down below which of these cards was your favorite, and please, if you haven't already, give this video a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching to the end. Bye everyone.